Imagine if a nation's most secret digital weapons, the cyber equivalent of nuclear codes, were stolen and unleashed on the world. Sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster, right? But in 2016, this scenario became a terrifying reality. This is the story of the Shadow Brokers, the mysterious group that pulled off one of the most audacious and consequential hacks in history. It all started in August 2016. A cryptic message appeared online from a group calling themselves the Shadow Brokers. They claimed to have hacked the Equation Group, a highly sophisticated cyber-espionage unit, widely believed to be a part of the U.S. National Security Agency, the NSA. To prove it, they released a sample of the stolen data collection of powerful hacking tools, exploits, and cyber weapons. At first, the security community was skeptical. Could the NSA, the world's most powerful intelligence agency, really be hacked? The tools they released were codenamed things like Epic Banana, Extra Bacon, and Egregious Blunder. The names sounded almost comical, but their capabilities were anything but. These were zero-day exploits, vulnerabilities in common software like Cisco firewalls that even the software makers didn't know existed. They were the keys to unlocking countless computer networks around the globe. The Shadow Brokers tried to auction off the rest of the tools for $1 million Bitcoin, which at the time was worth over $500 million. They set up a Bitcoin wallet and waited, but the auction was a spectacular failure. No one, not even a rogue state, was willing to pay that price publicly. The cyber underworld was buzzing, but no one was biting. The auction raised less than 2 Bitcoins. So, the Shadow Brokers changed their strategy. Frustrated by the failed auction, they started releasing more tools for free, seemingly out of spite or perhaps to prove a point. With each leak, the situation grew more dangerous. It was like watching a slow-motion car crash. Security experts scrambled to analyze the leaked code and develop patches, but they were always one step behind. Then, in April 2017, the Shadow Brokers dropped the mother. They released their most devastating tool yet, an exploit codenamed Eternal Blue. This was the weapon everyone had feared. Eternal Blue targeted a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows, the most popular operating system in the world. It allowed an attacker to remotely execute code on any unpatched Windows machine, effectively giving them complete control. Microsoft had actually been tipped off, likely by the NSA itself, and had released a patch for this vulnerability a month before the leak. But here is the crucial part. Millions of computers and organizations around the world are slow to update their systems. They run older software, they miss patch cycles, and they leave themselves wide open. Eternal Blue was a digital superweapon, and the Shadow Brokers had just handed it to anyone with an internet connection. From petty criminals to nation-state hackers, the consequences were immediate and catastrophic. On May 12, 2017, just a month after the leak, the WannaCry ransomware attack swept across the globe. Using Eternal Blue, WannaCry infected over 200,000 computers in 150 countries in a single day. It crippled hospitals in the UK, forcing them to cancel surgeries. It shut down car factories in France, halted transportation systems, and hit major corporations like FedEx. The attack caused chaos and billions of dollars in damage. It was a stark demonstration of how a single cyber weapon could bring essential services to a grinding halt. But the nightmare didn't end there. A month later, another attack, powered by the same shadow broker's tools, emerged. This one was called NotPetya, initially disguised as ransomware. Its true purpose was far more sinister. It was pure digital destruction. NotPetya didn't just encrypt files. It permanently destroyed them and wiped the master boot record of infected computers, rendering them useless. It was a wiper attack. NotPetya was particularly devastating in Ukraine, where it was initially targeted, crippling banks, power grids, and government agencies. But it quickly spread beyond Ukraine's borders, hitting international shipping giant Maersk, pharmaceutical company Merck, and many others. The total global financial damage from NotPetya was estimated to be over $10 billion, making it the most destructive cyber attack in history. So, who are the shadow brokers? To this day, their identity remains one of the biggest mysteries in cybersecurity. Theories abound. Are they Russian intelligence, seeking to sow chaos and embarrass the United States? Their clumsy use of English and references to Russian culture in their communications certainly point in that direction. The timing of their leaks, often coinciding with moments of geopolitical tension between the US and Russia, also supports this theory. Another theory suggests they could be an insider, a disgruntled NSA employee or contractor, similar to Edward Snowden. This person would have had the access and knowledge required to exfiltrate these highly classified tools. The group's name itself, the Shadow Brokers, is a reference to a character from the video game Mass Effect, an information dealer who operates in the shadows, a fitting moniker for either an insider or a foreign intelligence agency. A third, more complex theory suggests a combination of both. Perhaps an insider stole the tools, and then a foreign power like Russia acquired them and decided how and when to leak them for maximum political impact. We may never know for sure. The trail has gone cold, and the shadow brokers have been silent since late 2017. But their legacy is undeniable. The shadow brokers' hack fundamentally changed the world of cybersecurity. First, it exposed the dangerous practice of government agencies stockpiling software vulnerabilities instead of disclosing them to vendors so they can be fixed. The NSA held onto Eternal Blue for years, using it for their own intelligence gathering. But by keeping that back door open, they left the entire world vulnerable when the tool was inevitably lost or stolen. It sparked a massive debate. Should intelligence agencies act as defenders of cyberspace or as attackers? Second, the leaks democratized cyber warfare. Powerful nation-state-level hacking tools were suddenly in the hands of common criminals, script kiddies, and rogue actors. It dramatically lowered the barrier to entry for conducting highly sophisticated and damaging attacks. The world saw with WannaCry and NotPetya how devastating the consequences could be. The saga of the Shadow Brokers serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of our interconnected digital world. It highlights the dual-use nature of cyber tools. What can be used for espionage one day can be used for widespread destruction the next. It forced governments and corporations to reckon with their own security postures and the ethics of cyber operations. The shadows may have retreated for now, but the weapons they unleashed are still out there. And the questions they raised are more relevant today than ever before. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of hacking and technology. See you next time.